We've got a lot of fine specimen joining us on today's video. Hi everyone, it's Kay. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm bringing you a special list of my top 10 favorite male characters. That actually took way longer than I expected to put together, but it's fine. So let's jump on in. So starting with number 10 is the one and only Peeta Mellark from the Hunger Games. So when I was making this list, I had to include my original kind-hearted bread boy in here because he's one of the few men in fiction who does value kindness and human life over fighting in a world where that is definitely not the case. He only fights when there is no other choice and he has to keep him or Katniss or any of his friends safe. I mean, this man was on the Hunger Games twice and in a war, and he only killed like 2 to 3 times, if that. Like, that speaks volumes. Even after all his torture that he went through in Mockingjay, he still remained his kind and compassionate self at heart, which I think is one of the reasons he was able to come back to who he was. And not to mention his acting and improv skills is one of the only reasons he and Katniss stayed alive in Catching Fire, so do with that what you will, because that, my friends, is true power. So yes, in conclusion, stan Peeta Mellark, the OG kind-hearted bread boy. Number 9 is Matthew Fairchild. Whew, we got a lot of angst to work with here, people. If only this boy could see himself the way the fandom sees him, his problems would be reduced by half. But underneath all his depression and habits and everything else, he honestly cares so much for his friends and family, and it breaks my heart that he won't tell them. I get why, but it breaks my heart he won't confess to them and let them help him. Honestly, I wasn't expecting him to end up in my top 10, but it's because, you know, it's only been one book and a short story, but you know what? It's fine. He deserves it. He deserves to be loved. And so the angst trend continues with number 8, Holland Roden. Oh my gosh. Oh, the tears I have cried over this boy. Whew. Honestly, in all my years of reading, I have never seen a character suffer as much as Holland. Like, the way Conjuring of Light crushed my soul. Oh my gosh. Whew. Now, the thing I love about Holland, and I kind of could see it throughout all the books, is that how underneath all his actions and all his decisions, he genuinely cared and wanted to do right. However, as life goes, the situations were always against him, so he would have to make the choice on how he could survive. And that led to his, oh my gosh, like, it led to him making him look like the villain, and it's just, honestly, he makes my heart hurt so much. I cannot go much on about him without, like, crying, and I'm not gonna do that, so. Holland, my angsty boy, whew, you deserve better in every way. Alright, we get to tone down the angst for number 7, and that is Karl Spelthorne. Honestly, he's overconfident, but it works for him, so I love him. I read this series forever ago, but I remember his lines had me crying. They were hilarious. I love him. Oh my gosh. I love comedic relief, so, like, it's fine. Yeah, like, it's honestly been, like, what, 8th grade? Yeah, 8th grade? Whew. Since 8th grade when I read this, I finished Winter in 8th grade, but I remember point blank how much I love his friendship with Cinder and his relationship with Cress, because it shows more of his compassionate side, and I love it. I definitely have to reread this, but I know my love for him will grow tenfold if I reread it, so we'll see. And bring him back, a darker shade of magic with my boy, Cal Marish. Cal wore a very peculiar cloak. That's it, that's when I knew I would love him. So yes, it took me by surprise how much I would love Cal. Some of the characters on this list I expected to love, so I wasn't, but he took me away with how much I ended up loving him. Honestly, he cares so much despite the crappy way he's grown up. but he loves Rye and Lila and even Holland. He protected them and he cared for them so much. He's honestly witty and like, I love him. I need to reread just for him. I realize I don't have as many reasons why I love Cal because honestly it just came over me. I just loved him. And so here he is at number 6. We're in the top 5, people. Let's go. And bringing in with number 5 is the one, the only, Nikolai Lancel. So honestly, I feel like Nikolai is book Twitter's it boy, so it shouldn't surprise anyone he's in my top 5. Honestly, like Nikolai is just so kind and caring despite everything he's gone through, everything he will go through, and he'll use his humor to hide pain so it doesn't like show his true self, which makes me sad, but that's how most boys are in fiction. He uses his humor to cheer up his friends, and it's just, he cares so much. I love him. And honestly, just, you can see through his friendship with Alina and I call them his royal council, but his council in King of Scars, how much he loves his friends, and I love reading about him, and King of Scars 2 better have more Nikolai time, because, you know, his duology. Just saying. Number 4 is the one and only Gray from A Cursed Dark and Lonely, Sir Gray, Sir Scary Gray. I love my boy Gray. If anyone remembers my second video I ever made, I think I ranted about Gray for a solid like 5 minutes, so I'll spare you a little bit this time around. I have never attached to a character as quick as I attached to Gray. It's how he's at number 4, that's all I can say. One of my favorite things about Gray is that even though he's not supposed to have emotional attachments because he's a guardsman, and for other reasons later on in the series, he still was able to love his friends and care about them, and it's just very beautiful to read about. And he loves them because that's who he is. He can never just swear off emotional attachment because it's hard. And he's a very caring person. His loyalty is honestly his greatest strength. It motivates him and makes him do better, and I love that. Stan Gray. Number 3, we have Wilin Van Sunshine Ike. I love him. How many times have I said I love him this episode? I don't know, but we're going with it. When I say I would lay down my life for Wilin, no, I mean it. I would lay down my life for Wilin. He is one of the few male characters I have ever read about who uses math and science as his strength rather than fighting, and my nerd heart loves it. And Wilin is so kind and as pure as you can get in this dark world. And he's kind with no strings attached, which cannot be said for most of the other characters in this series. So he even had Kaz Bricker have a soft spot for. Also, unrelated note, Kaz and Wilin is like my favorite underrated friendship and duo in Six of Crows. So yeah, just throwing that out there. I love my kind-hearted, nerdy boy with all my heart. I love him. So, yes. And here we are, folks. Number 2, Jim Carstairs, the love of my life. So he's so kind and loving and caring, and I've heard people hate on him, and I'm like, do you hate sunshine and happiness too? Or like, what's your deal? He puts his loved ones above himself and does whatever it takes to make them happy, and I want to cry. He's been through so much suffering in the Infernal Devices alone, and he still remains his kind-hearted self, and he's also so wise. Even in the Infernal Devices when he's like 17, he has honestly been through so much at that point, but he's used it to better himself and learn from it, and I love Jim Carstairs so much. Stan Jim, the gem of my heart. And finally, number 1, has anyone guessed who it is? Anyone? No? Okay, I'll let you know. It is Percy Jackson. Percy is half fictional crush, half emotional support at this point, so yeah. do what you gotta do. Honestly, I grew up with Percy, and for the majority of my teen years, I could relate to him so much, and he's just the first fictional character I truly fell in love with. I always will have a soft spot for Percy. And one of the reasons I love him is that he is so powerful, but he's also so humble about it. Like, you honestly don't know how powerful this man is until Heroes of Olympus, when we see him in other people's points of view, and you're like, okay then. He doesn't let his powers go to his head, and his leadership skills are so on point. He took it upon himself, and he cares so much for everyone he's leading, and it hurts my heart, all the suffering he goes through on their behalf, and I just... And his loyalty is so... he is so loyal to his friends and family. He cares so much. It hurts to read about, but it's so good. Do I even have to mention he's a sassy legend? Like, do I even have to mention it? I love him so much. No, honestly, words really can't describe how much I love Percy. Just, he's always been there, and he always will be. I'm gonna bring everyone back for their last time on screen, so. I'm gonna sit down now. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope I did all these amazing men justice. If you have a favorite top 10 characters and you want to comment them below, do that. If you love any of these men, tell me why, I'm curious. If you want to see more of me, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to see me elsewhere, my socials are linked below. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and until next time, I'm Kay. Bye!